Welcome to From Communication to Cooperation, Enriching the CLC Experience for Students to Enhance Learning. What you can expect from this presentation are four things. First, I'll take you through the importance of the CLC experience in learning, the four stages of group development, which are essential, some questions that I'll ask, a couple of questions, and then I'll take you through from pre-class setup to the post-class setup for CLC success. First of all, small groups within an online class provide a very unique opportunity, and that is knowledge construction, which I guess you could call the constructivist theory of learning. But George Siemens and Stephen Downes called it connectivism, and this happens through collaboration and cooperation when you add the online environment. That's the connectivist theory of learning, and they noted that, quote, learning in the digital age is no longer dependent on individual knowledge acquisition, storage, and retrieval. Rather, it relies on the connected learning that occurs through interaction with various sources of knowledge, including the internet and learning management systems, and participation in communities of common interest, social networks, and group tasks. So from constructivism to connectivism, in an online environment, all is done virtually. Interaction and dialogue is so much more vital, which is what connectivism really recognizes. And if done correctly, then the educator is merely a conduit for the learning to be transformed between all stakeholders. Higher learning outcomes occur when students collaborate, interact, and are engaged. And since they're not face-to-face in a brick-and-mortar classroom, there's so much more demand on the need to collaborate, interact, and be engaged. And it's crucial that educators take full advantage of the benefits CLC groups can bring to promote the knowledge construction. And according to their study, Brindley and Wadey, in an article, Creating Effective Collaborative Learning Groups in an Online Environment, there are benefits that collaborative learning include, and that is, number one, development of critical thinking skills. 2, co-creation of knowledge and meaning. 3, reflection. And 4, transformative learning. Sure, educators might see the benefit and the interactions which occur to deepen learning. However, if we as educators don't take full advantage of them, we're missing the boat. Do learners see the benefits though? They may see an obstacle to it for their learning. Why? Well, they may have seen benefits in the brick and mortar classroom, but they've had a negative group experience perhaps with the CLC groups and perhaps shut down. They feel grading is unfair. Some have carried perhaps too much load, and they've had maybe difficult teammates to deal with. So educators need to facilitate the process of group work, and that is through, there are 4 stages of development that were recognized back in 1965 by Bruce Tuckman, and those are forming, storming, norming, and performing. And they sound just like they are. Forming, when the people come together. Storming, what are your roles? What are we going to do? What do we need to accomplish? Expectations need to be set up. Then there's the norming, where you're finally getting the groove and defining your roles and getting things done. And performing, where you're at the optimal level, reaching where the team needs to reach. But you add the online environment, and your four stages become more like communication, discussing, collaboration, sharing ideas, loose, cooperation, where togetherness, but you have an individual purpose, and finally community, which is the common goal, where you're all reaching a common goal. So I will add that these 4 stages can become forming with initial communication, storming by collaborating and working out the kinks, norming with cooperation from all parties, and finally performing as a community. Now, the goal are really the first 3 stages. Those are achievable, but the last one probably won't happen as easily in an online course unless they are in contact for longer periods of time. So I'm going to tackle 2 questions here, and that is, how can online faculty make the CLC experience richer? And what are some tools and tricks to help the engagement process? First, one thing I like to do in the pre-class setup is create a short welcome video, about 2 minutes, that welcomes the students to class, tells the students a little bit about him or herself, and then set a tone. It's a great role model.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to RDG 523. I wanted to include a personal message to welcome you to class because I wanted to just share how much I truly enjoy being a part of not only Grand Canyon faculty, but also that I get to meet excellent educators like you, or wannabe educators, and knowing that we're all in the same boat together. So one of the things, though, that we're going to embark on in this class is the collaborative learning community environment, the CLC groups. And the one thing it needs to be successful is you and your interactions. But more importantly, according to Johnson & Johnson, not the soap company, and a different Johnson & Johnson team, they came up with 5 needs, and that's positive interdependence, promotive interaction, individual accountability, appropriate use of social skills, and group processing. But I think you'll find in this class that we're going to really focus on the 3 needs are accountability, technology needs, and leadership. And I think you'll find that this is going to make your group experience shine, and you'll enjoy it so much more. So that's why I'm going to assign the CLC groups early, so you can get to know each other, go from just a conversation to truly collaboration, and hopefully eventually a small community for a short time. So to the class wall, please post your time zone so I can assign you to your local environment, and we'll get to know each other. Also, enjoy my welcome message. If you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. Thank you, and looking forward to getting to know you.
So I post that at the beginning to welcome them and set a welcoming tone. So that's the thing you want to do, is look way ahead and find the weeks that the CLC groups will meet and put in the initial announcement. This is really the forming stage. I try to use the class wall to find people in the same time zones to get them in similar areas so it's not difficult. You want to take out any impediments to learning in the initial stages. Finally, start the CLC groups as soon as possible, week 1 or 2, and have them do some icebreakers. Again, I want to remind you that, remember, the mistake many online instructors make is to realize there's not a continuum and most of them just remain at communication. And that's because the instructor just goes MIA after they assign groups. You can't do that. So this is something I like to post the first week, and so you can see what it says. So far, we have like the time zones. I want to establish some norms and trust. At the bottom here, you can see these 4 questions. In your groups, ask and discuss how long have you been teaching, any fun factoid, and so on. What do these 5 points mean to you, the 5 needs for a group? So they get to talk about those and get to know each other. Finally, week 1 or 2, they're starting to storm by collaborating. This is when you have the CLC agreement completed and the leader has sent them in. But there are obstacles to collaboration, and that's where I'm going to get to right now. First of all, there are 3 needs. Like I said, there are 5, but right now, for the sake of this presentation, we're going to talk about 5. Accountability, technology, and leadership. You want to nip any impediments in the bud. So first, accountability. Since the groups are not face-to-face, there has to be individual accountability because it is easy to be invisible. And this seems to be the biggest impediment to research, as quoted here by Levine, Resnick, and Higgins. There's social loafing, if you call it. So what I have them do is, in the CLC agreement, have them discuss what will happen if a student is nowhere to be found. Set it up early. And encourage the students to ask questions and share their concerns. Finally, here are some quotes from my class. The CLC agreement was helpful as it showed us what each person was going to take responsibility for. It also gave us a level of accountability. Another student noted that it was a little bit difficult, but she actually is going to try it with her students. So she liked it so much she's going to use it. Next is technology. The use of technology can be the best way to achieve cooperation. Recommend and actually require that groups use at least one synchronous discussion at the beginning. Give 2 recommendations for communication, only 2, and ask the groups to provide them. Google Docs seems to be a great use, Skype and instant messaging, so give them some options, like I said, 2, and have them use at least 1 for their group discussions. And like I said, quotes from the class. One group used Google Docs. We posted the information through Google Drive. That way everyone could see what each person was adding. Another one, we communicated through text, forum, email, and conference calls. Another said, have students text one another when they have responded. It's like an alert system. Another said Skype or video chats if you are still in the same time zone. Finally, the leadership needs. Have one voice. Set up a leader. Check in consistently with each group to make sure everyone is participating. There may be missing students. Encourage the leader to be the communicator, the conduit to me, the instructor. And try designating jobs for each member. Have the leader help that. The weeks of the CLC, hopefully this is the norming. They're cooperating. This level is achieved when you see all things working. This is your goal. Your job is the encourager now. You will get cooperation when you have a strong network set up. Nurture, nurture, nurture. Instructor needs to nurture the groups. Why? As quoted, it is always important to remember that in the online environment, we present ourselves in text. Because it is a flat medium, we need to make an extra effort to humanize the environment. In the face-to-face classroom, students have the opportunity to get to know one another pre, before, or after class, during class, and in the campus location, such as the student lounge. It's not like that in the online environment. So weeks after the CLC, I have them reflect. This final step is crucial. It completes the circle of learning, which really never ends if one reflects, and it allows them to focus on the future and what they can do differently. To help grade and get feedback, have them respond to this. Put it in the individual forum or put it in the next week's announcements. You can see what I have posted here. What did our CLC do well? What could we do more effective? And then have them evaluate each member. Have them copy and paste and put in the individual forum. I have a sample next here, and what one person wrote for each of her members. And she wrote at the bottom, "We were a great group, enjoyed working together. I liked to get to know my classmates better, and this did the trick." So excellent way to get feedback. Finally, at the end of the session, at the end of the weeks, I do a questionnaire kind of to find out a little bit more so I can learn. And you can see here what I've posted, and you can use the same thing if you'd like. And I give my personal email if they ever need anything. So finally, in conclusion, don't miss the learning opportunities the CLCs provide. These skills are crucial for success, so put them on the forefront of your priorities when working in your classroom. Students become higher order thinkers, they enjoy the group experience, and your hands-on in the beginning provides long-term benefits of more hands-off. Thank you so much for listening.